Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast, Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Now streaming on all major podcast platforms. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that has given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast. That podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a veteran story. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? Make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out. See what we're all about. There's a couple ways you can support us here at the podcast. You can become a patron with a monthly donation, or you can just go get you some cool gear. Click that merchandise tab and go in there and do that. Everything you do there helps support us and getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Also, big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project. I'm sure most of you know what that is by now if you've been watching. If not, go to their website, check them out, support them in any way that you can. But that's tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, we're back here. I got Tom Smith, Marine veteran, Marine Corps League member. How you doing, Tom?
I'm awesome, man. It's a beautiful day. How are you?
Oh, man, I can't complain at all. We finally got to link up here. I'm excited about it. So it'll be a good time. I think you'll enjoy yourself.
Perfect.
So let's start at the beginning for you. Like, where did you grow up? What was that like? And then how did you end up in the Marine Corps? And how did you get drawn into the Marine Corps?
It's kind of an interesting backstory. I grew up in Virginia. I am of the class of 81. That's how old I am.
Okay.
At Wilson High School. And while in high school here in Fishersville, Virginia, I was a two-sport athlete, football and baseball,
Nice.
and excelled at both, but football was really my calling. So all through high school, back then they called us big dumb jocks, but, and I'm like, cool, okay, that's whatever, I'm having a good time because I was like the party captain in school. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I really had my heart set on going to play college football, and I was being recruited by quite a few schools and was looking at James Madison University. And unfortunately, my senior year, I sustained an injury that kind of ended my career. And so, it's fun being the party captain, but unfortunately, you don't get graded for that. So my grades for class was something that I couldn't brag a lot about.
Yeah.
I really wasn't a traditional student. I was a non-traditional, let me see, lunch, music, girls, party. That's what I made. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, you were getting an education. It just wasn't the regular education.
No, I never let my education get in my way of my fun. Never. When it all ended, the interesting thing about it is my father is a World War II veteran who fought in Saipan and Tinian.
Wow. Okay.
So I grew up with his Marine Corps jacket in the closet of our house.
Wow.
Shared a few stories, but those veterans don't talk a lot. What I learned was from my mother, who told me about him, and he was a real true hero. And I'm not going to get into that because we don't have time for it. But I never could understand as a kid why is this dude like ironing his blue jeans with a crease in it?
Yeah.
Why polishing his cowboy boots? What's up with this old dude? And come to find out, once a Marine, always a Marine, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Always squared away. Taught me great things that when I went into the Marines made sense. Had to go into the Marine Corps. And my father and I were really not that close, but when I graduated from boot camp, we both went to the PX. I'm a PI Marine. We both went to the PX and we both bought Marine Corps rings together, and that was probably the special for he and I. And he wore his until his death in several years later. So that was a really big deal for me. As far as how I joined the Marine Corps, we all have our stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
So myself and about 3 or 4 of my friends, we were going to go in the Air Force. And so they all backed out except me, So I go up after I found out I wasn't going to be able to go play college sports, I'm like, I am not staying here, man. I've got to go see the world. I got to do something with my life.
Right.
I went to the recruiter station. Air Force wouldn't even look at me, man, because I'm like this gungy dude. Air Force is like, they didn't even look up at me. They didn't even acknowledge me. Ugly dude. They're like, no, you're not one of us. I talked to the Army. They talked about being a corpsman. I'm like, pretty cool. Then there's no way. Hey, all of you sailors out there, God bless you, bro, but you're not sticking me on a boat for 6 months on the water with 5,000 dudes. Not gonna happen. I need my grass, that you walk on, and sunshine and my bed and stuff like these guys, man, they want to travel the world. That's awesome. None of that was working out for me. You ready? So now I'm walking out the door, and here comes Gunny Carver. Where you going, boy? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get in here in my office. I'm like, oh, okay, And he goes, sit down. He introduced himself, and he had the big reel-to-reel. You remember the reel-to-reel videos?
Yeah.
Of Paris Island. Okay, I'm a young, gungy, young and dumb and full of all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, by the time that video came off, I'm like, yeah, I want to be a Marine, because that was my mentality. And so a month later, I found myself on a bus going south to Paris Island. And boot camp was pretty cool as for all of us that went through it. I had no desire to stand out. I didn't want to be a guide iron. I just wanted to get through, you know what I'm saying? So I went in for 3 years on an open contract. They didn't tell me until I got to MEPS in Richmond, Virginia, that you didn't get in electronics school. It already filled up, but we're going to put you in an open contract.
Okay.
What is that? And he goes, that means that you only have to go in for 3 years, but we'll figure out what you're going to do. When you get to boot camp, you'll test, and depending upon your tests will depend upon what you do. And I'm like, I just want to be a Marine. Real fired up at the time, right?
Yeah.
So I get there, and we're doing all the testing. And then here comes the day, they set us all down in the room, and they start handing out MOSs, right?
Right.
Dude, all the guys in my platoon were getting, I don't even know what the MOS is for a cannon cocker shooting the howitzers.
Yeah.
But like all of these dudes were getting their billets filled. And then they called me out. And I went and got mine. It was a 3051. And asked my drill instructor, what is a 3051? Well, he proceeded to call me everything that he possibly could come up with and made up words. You're and I'm thinking, he goes, you're the damn desk officer in the damn warehouse, and you ain't going to be on the field. You ain't no Marine. And for real, I'm going, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. I did not 2 weeks at a time. So yeah, I was in supply.
Okay.
Went to Lejeune for a while. And then
now, was Lejeune where the school was for supply?
No, supply actually is kind of like OJT.
Oh, okay.
They put me into this huge warehouse. Once I was, we called the box shop, where we built stuff. It was like a huge carpentry shop. We would ship everything from tank motors to body bags.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it was really, really big. And this was back during Beirut and Lebanon, so we're shipping bags, and that was pretty surreal,
Yeah.
Well, I got in trouble because I was still the party captain, hadn't lost all of that. And so all of us good kids that get in trouble get to go on mess duty.
Yeah.
I was on mess duty several times. I might just throw that in there for footnote, right? But while I'm on mess duty, I'm partying with this little shitbird named Johnny, who'd been in the forever and was still a private. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We'll just switch his MOS to mess duty. Anyway, we're partying one night. This is a true story. We were all, 18 years old Marine. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were about 10 beers deep. And he goes, hey, where you want to go, man? I'm like, bro, send me to Hawaii. 3 months later, orders came down for 3051 in Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, and I got them.
No kidding.
That no shit bird hooked me up, bro.
He did. Holy cow.
Office. And I mean, no offense, but dude, you guys scared us little guys to death. You had wet stripes in too long. He,
Yeah.
office top does, and he goes, sit down. And I'm thinking, shit, this ain't good. Never good. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, well, you little bitch, you're going to, well, son, you're going to Hawaii. You have orders. Congratulations. Enjoy yourself. Dude, I passed out. I had no blood. It all rushed from my head. And wait, what? I'm thinking I'm in trouble. And now he's congratulating me. So I got orders and they go, but you have to extend your contract by a month. I'm
Oh,
like,
that's horrible. 1 month isn't a big deal at all.
yeah, I'm good, dude. I'll do that for the Corps. I'll do that.
Yeah.
So off I go, and I spent 2 years in Hawaii on the Marine Corps Air Station. I ran the supply battalion there for 700 Marines for the Air Wing, and I will not tell any stories from that time because, yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah. Well, Hawaii's a good place to be to go out and venture and see the island, if you will. You know, it's
Well, here's a 19-year-old kid from the hills of Virginia sitting on Waikiki Beach at 19 years old.
yeah.
Okay, there's no way I could have been any cooler than that moment.
Yeah.
Not myself. I'm looking around going, oh my God, people dream about coming here, and I'm stationed for 2 years.
Yeah.
Did get an opportunity to learn quite a bit about the culture. But it was really during that time of the Corps that I no longer was that cool party captain. My name didn't anything. They buzz your hair. Now you're just a part of 200,000 other dudes that don't have any. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it took me those 3 years to figure out really who I was because I was propped up. I was very popular. I partied with everybody, sports, I mean, you believe all the hype. Well, there is no hype in the Corps. You're a Marine. And I found out I was a very good Marine. Super high pros and cons, letters of recommendation, commendation. I was a very good Marine.
Yeah.
And served proudly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When I had the opportunity to re-enlist, the recruiters weren't in the office. I was going to re-enlist to try to go to Quantico to try to come home.
Yeah.
They weren't. So I just took it as an omen of, okay, this isn't meant to be. And so 3 years, I was ready to come home and start my life.
Yeah.
And so that's the path that I took.
And then what year was it that you got out?
October of 1984.
84. Okay. And then so you went back to Virginia and what was your plans? What did you do when you went back?
The crazy thing is this is the part that I think most every veteran can understand. I wasn't in combat. I'm not, I do have complex PTSD, but it's not the it's not the PTSD from, being in combat and things like that.
Right.
But we're rewired. You know what I mean? I came back just 3 years later. And everyone's like, wow, you're not the same. My sister was like, God, I don't have my little brother anymore.
Wow. Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? We're rewired to be Marines,
right?
Or Navy, Army, whatever. And I, like everybody else, struggled terribly. I just started to withdraw. Didn't know really. I wasn't that crazy Tommy Smith anymore.
Right.
Served 3 years in the United States Marine Corps, everything that comes with that. And so, to be really honest, man, a lot of people are going to understand what I'm saying. Dude, I floundered for years.
Yeah.
Around job after job after job after relationship. That's all the side effects of the PTSD. And we didn't really know. We didn't really know what it was. Thank God I didn't go down the road of, becoming an alcoholic or a drug addict. I have a really strong Lord. And so that kept me from, doing something to myself or somebody else. But I've always been driven and I've always had a passion. And I knew I had a purpose for something. And, so it doesn't really matter what I have done. And I've done some pretty amazing things professionally. I mean, amazing things. I have always, first foremost, been a Marine.
Yeah.
We are always, always. I've actually been hired like 2 or 3 times by guys that were Marines when I was younger. And I come in
Nice.
and I see it on your resume. You're a Marine. That's all I need to know. Welcome aboard. And I'm like,
Yeah.
whoop, you know? And so my sons did not enter into the military. I didn't really push it on them. I wanted them to make their own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But they are so proud, and they've told everybody they're completely squared away. I mean, their
Yeah.
room away, their clothes are squared away, their sock drawer squared away. You know, I was raised by a Marine, and they were proud
Yeah.
of it, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and I've had a lot of impact on a lot of Marines' lives, veterans, really, as a counselor, and
Mm-hmm.
I love helping our brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I joined the War League, and that was a special time as well.
Yeah. Now so you said you struggled for a little bit, but then you eventually got into counseling and doing things of that nature. Is that how that worked, or what happened there?
I kind of like most veterans, I knew there was an issue, but I'm one of the guys that's in the closet. You're not going to know
Mm-hmm.
it. I've joked my whole life. I'm the most amazing person you're ever going to meet for 1 minute. Then I got to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a professional motivational speaker. I've done workshops. I've done TV. I've done radio. I've done all kinds of stuff. And
Right.
everyone meets me is like, man, you're so amazing, but they have no idea because I
Mm-hmm.
don't let them see it. And so
Yeah.
whatever Marines are out there that's watching this, for those of you that are going, yeah, I'm right there too. About 10 years ago, I started moving into counseling to
Okay.
have 9 certifications, PTSD, cognitive behavioral therapy, on and on, to be able
Mm-hmm.
to help. I started counseling. And it's just been over the last several months that I have finally come out of the closet and gone to get help myself. And it
Wow.
has been life-changing for me.
Mm-hmm. That's
Finally.
awesome.
It is, man. I thank God. I have a great relationship with a lady that kind of encouraged me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's changed my life. So if there's any of you brothers or sisters out there, man, I'm telling you guys, you've got to go talk to some people, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's changed my life. I mean, I have a freedom and a purpose now that I never had really before.
Right. Yeah, I'd agree. It is life changing once you go and you talk to them, and you start working through the issues that maybe you had and those types of things, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I feel better. I'm doing better. It just kind of starts to snowball in a good direction versus snowballing in a bad direction.
And that's a really good point, because the snowballing, that's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
When it gets bad, it gets worse. And
Yes.
my attitude now is I wake up every day with a grateful heart. I love where I'm at. I love my life. I love my relationship. I love my job. I'm at peace.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of that credit, but it's also going to talk to somebody professionally
Mm-hmm.
to let them hear what's been triggering me all these years.
Yeah.
And I don't have to live like that anymore. We don't have to live like that.
Right.
I choose not to. So
Mm-hmm.
snowballing is really good analogy. I'm in a good
Yeah.
place.
That's awesome. And now you have a podcast as well that you've been doing. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, actually a couple years ago, I was contacted because I was pretty heavy on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked me if I would like to do 10 shows for a podcast out of New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, sure. So actually, it was their podcast. And I did 10 shows, which is still, I think I sent you that information for
Mm-hmm.
P. Thompson Counseling LLC, is my channel. But I got into a lot of my counseling, a lot of explaining. I look at it as I like to educate people about who we are.
Mm-hmm.
I like to tell our story.
Yeah.
And encourage people. And that's what those shows were really about. And so they're loaded on there. And it was exhilarating, liberating. I don't know what word, to be able to do that. I've always wanted to tell our story to people
Yeah.
that don't understand, because the biggest question I get is, why are there so many homeless veterans?
Mm-hmm.
And why are there 22 a day that commit suicide? People that are civilians don't understand. And for me to have that opportunity to be able to talk about it and educate them,
Yeah.
interviewers, it was crazy, man. I mean, he was literally at the end of the conversation, he was so stunned about what I had shared. He was just like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Never knew that. And I'm like, well, now you do. And
Mm-hmm.
so profound impact. So yeah, P. Thomas Smith Counseling LLC, was the shows that I did. I mean, it was
Yeah.
2 years ago or so. So
Yeah. And then, and now do you have your own, counseling type of thing that you're doing, for business or anything like that?
P. Thomas Smith Counseling, I did do that. I launched that. I got it up and going, and I started working on that pretty heavily.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when I, looked at you, man, I'm super, super impressed because, man, you've crossed all the T's, dotted all the I's. You got all the buttons. I mean, you're everywhere. All your stuff is highly, highly professional. I didn't go to that extreme. I
Yeah.
was going to do a Facebook page and tried to help a lot of people. It's very difficult over the phone or Zoom,
True.
you know,
Yeah.
but I did what I could do,
Mm-hmm.
and it just got to the point to where it was time for me to just kind of step back. And I worked for the Department of Corrections for a year as a cognitive counselor
Oh,
here in
wow.
Virginia, and worked one prison. I had 80 veterans that I worked with. Another one had
Within
about,
that one prison?
yeah.
No kidding. Wow.
The prisons are chock full of veterans, my brother,
Yeah.
chock full.
Mm.
And it's drug and alcohol. They get
Oh,
busted.
yeah. I can see it. Yeah.
That's how we medicate.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a cognitive behavioral counselor at another prison helping with reentry, and I had 80 guys in that pod that I was helping.
Wow.
Very rewarding, but just a difficult. It's impossible to do any kind of work within that because the Department of Corrections is so broke and
Yeah.
dysfunctional and underfunded that you can't really do any really good work. But my girlfriend is a doctor, and we have discussed several times about. She has 4 veterans actually on her caseload now about doing something. It's always in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
It's always, and when I see veterans, and matter of fact, the National Museum for the Marine Corps up in
Mm-hmm.
Palm, you
Yeah.
familiar with that?
Yeah.
Get that word out there, man. Every jarhead that can breathe, can walk, talk, even in a wheelchair, bro, get in there. I just went out and visited with them, and they interviewed me and they hired me. I'm starting my training to work there.
Nice.
And the reason why is they said, because of your background, we like for you just kind of mingle because you'll be able to identify the guys that might be struggling with some of the
Mm.
events or some of the things that they have going on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, dude, there's just no bigger honor than to be able to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Just like the Marine Corps League, which I am a member as well.
Yeah, man, that's really cool.
Mm.
I work. I know one of the guys from the Marine Corps University Histories Division. They're the
Mm.
ones that hold all of the stuff that goes into the museum.
Yeah.
So they keep track of it and that type of stuff. But just so you know, every veteran story that I'm doing, assuming that this goes through, fingers crossed, say a prayer, knock on wood. They're going to take all of those episodes and they're going to archive those stories on behalf of the Marine Corps.
Man, I think that's really cool. Our story needs to be told, and my biggest thing with when I'm speaking, whether it's radio interviews or whatever the case may be,
Mm-hmm.
when you take someone that comes up usually profiled in kind of an abusive family,
Mm-hmm.
we all have our own stories, but this is what I found getting into mental health. So these people, a lot of these people that go into the military that, they have mental health issues, but then they go in the military, and then to be able to raise your right hand and function,
Right.
it is a whole different level of respect. It goes way
Yeah.
beyond thank you for your service. I mean, that's cool, but I want people to know what does that mean?
Yeah.
What does it mean? Not just we didn't wear a uniform. What does that mean? Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
What families go through, what what do, these men and women that are struggling and still can function within the confines, especially the Marine Corps. I mean, everybody else, God bless them, but the Marine Corps, we all know that we're Marines.
Yeah.
I want people to know, and I think their level of respect would just go through the roof. So anywhere, any place, anytime I have the opportunity to tell people our story, man, I've jumped on it and I've done it quite a bit. So meeting, bro, I just want to encourage you to keep on going, do what you do. Hopefully there's going to be a huge breakthrough for you one of these days, and this thing's going to go bigger.
It'll happen eventually. I just got to keep plugging,
It totally will. Just keep rocking it. And, I'll follow you. And if you ever need to reach out, just to say, hey, I want to do in this segment or this, whatever, now you know a little bit about it. And I'm down with Jarheads, man. I mean, we're Leathernecks, baby. We go way back. We're tons kids. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right. You know that 250 years this year, which, by the way, you're looking really good for 250. So
yeah, I feel really good too.
But yeah, 250, that's coming up this year. And of course, I'm sure you know all about the Ton Legacy Foundation?
I have heard of it.
So they're rebuilding Ton Tavern in Philadelphia. It's just down the street from the original place it was. Of course, the original place, there's a highway over it now, so they couldn't build right there. But it's like 100 yards down the street. But they're rebuilding that. There's a big, they're doing fundraisers and all that type of stuff to try and make money for it and, get it built. But they're trying to get it done by the birthday of this year. I'm not sure it's going to happen by then, but they're trying. But yeah, it's a pretty good deal. We're actually going to do a live broadcast and do an auction online. So one of my buddies, he's a Marine. He paints, and he did a painting for me that I'm going to show this Thursday. So he's going to be on, and we're also going to talk about July 3rd. We're going to have an auction where he's going to come on and he's going to paint live on the show. He's going to do a painting, and then we're going to auction that painting off. And then there'll be some other things that we're going to auction off as well. But all that money is going to go to the Ton Legacy Foundation. So we're going to send it over there. So it'll be pretty cool.
Well, I'm excited. They got a Tons Tavern little bar up there at the museum. I'm sure I'll probably be in there once or twice.
That's right.
But
they have events and stuff in there too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, they have a lot going on this month as well.
Yeah.
Well, next month, excuse me, for July.
Right.
And
yeah.
We'd be going up on. I'll be doing weekends because they need help on weekends.
Yeah.
So, if anybody ever sees this show and they see me, man, please come up and say hi, because I'll be pretty visible there, I think, when I'm there.
Very nice. And that'll be really cool, because you'll just get to walk around and just kind of mingle and discuss and talk about things and listen to people's stories. So, I don't know. To me, that's incredible. So, man, you got the dream job there.
They're these guys go, Korean. There's very, very few World War II people anymore, but Korean, most of them are Vietnam vets now.
Yeah.
Probably the bulk of the Marine Corps League are Vietnam vets. And
that is true. Yeah.
Guys have some age, but man, they can still throw down. Our meetings, it was at a VFW, man. And holy crap. Let's go to the bar. These dudes are 75. We're done. Bar. And they're just like, round them up, boys.
Yeah.
Great guys in Billings. Shout out to Eugene Sarah Detachment.
Very nice. And now, which detachment is it there?
It's the Sarah Eugene Detachment is what it's called in Billings. Yeah. I feel bad because the Legion, everybody, man, they're aging out. These organizations are faltering. They're falling apart just because the young people, they don't have the same commitment as the older. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there's also, and I've been doing stuff on Facebook, like polling and asking questions and stuff like that to the younger generation. But like my generation and younger, not necessarily me, my personal generation, but the younger generation, they play video games or they do these things. Plus they're married, they got a family, they don't have a lot of time to be able to go out and do things. Right. And that's a lot of the rub is that. And then So if we did, as a Marine Corps League, if we were doing events that, that would draw those individuals in, right? They play video games. So have video game tournaments and, do the hikes and do, family events and stuff like that. I think we would get way more of the younger generation. It's just a matter of selling ourselves to that generation and saying, hey, this is something that you want to be a part of,
I really absolutely am not shocked, but just taken back by you saying that, because that's the insight that I had when I was there. There's a massive, I don't mean anything negative or anything like that, but you can't put a 25-year-old in a room with a 75-year-old. I'm sorry. The generational gap is just so, and if the Marine Corps League doesn't start evolving into the program that you just described, they're not even going to be around in 10 years. Yeah. I mean, and again, they know it. I mean, they called me the pup. I was in my mid 50s and they called me the pup because the guys were so much older, and I loved them. But the younger guys that would come in, they're like, man, I don't really fit in. That's why I joined the Legion one time for a short period of time and went to one meeting, and there was like 5 people there, and I didn't identify with any of them. And so, but I don't know.
All the service organizations are in that same boat. Exactly. They're all struggling. Now, I will say the American Legion has caught on to a certain extent, at least. They're doing a lot of really good stuff with the younger generation. So they have guys that, and I wish I could remember the guy's name. He's an active duty guy, but he's really big social media, and he's one of their ambassadors, and he's out there all the time, doing stuff for the Marine Corps, or not the American Legion and stuff like that. So they're really getting a lot of interest through that. So we kind of got to do the same type of thing. Luckily, I'm an ambassador for the Marine Corps League, so I've been trying to push it pretty hard. But we need to get some younger blood in there to do it as well. And my generation, we're kind of that link, right? Yes. Because I can communicate with the older generation fairly easy, but I can also communicate with the younger guys as well. And we just got to be that link to kind of pull it together.
I love the tradition. I love
absolutely
everything that we do. I mean, the meetings are just super cool. I still have my cover, man. I mean, when I left Billings, I dropped my membership because I was coming to Virginia. So I let them have the uniform to give to people that maybe couldn't afford it. But I kept my cover. I mean, that's pride and joy, man. And they just reinstated me with the Marine Corps League as a at-large member, because I'm in we're smack dab in the middle of JMU. And I mean, there's like 60,000 people here, and there's no Marine Corps League. The closest one is like well over an hour.
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, there's only like 2 or 3 in the whole state. And
wow.
I know. But one thing I'll say about Montana, as small as it is, it's 1 million people for the whole state. There was per capita, there's more veterans in Montana than any other state. And that was we really were kind of proud of out there. But I would do more with the Marine Corps League if we could go in that direction you're talking about. But as it is right now, the disconnect is pretty big.
Yeah. And you can't blame anybody for it necessarily, because, the older generation, they're used to doing things their way. They like it. It works for them. It's just, if you don't start making the change and you don't start selling to that younger generation, then you're not going to have them to replace you. And more and more people that I talk to about it, they seem to be more interested in doing it. It's just a matter of how do you do it. And that's kind of where we're at right now, and trying to figure that piece of the pie out.
Let me just give you this real quick example.
Yeah.
To this point, when I was in Billings, they had an Elks Club. It's an old fraternal organization.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, excuse me. No, it was here in Waynesboro, Virginia. When I came back here, because I'm from Waynesboro, and I was riding around, and one of the main roads, I was looking at the building because I didn't know what it was. There was 5,000 cars in the parking lot. And I finally ran into somebody that I worked with in the prison. Her dad ran the kitchen there.
Yeah.
And I said, I said something to her about it. She goes, "Oh, my dad's the kitchen manager there." I said, "I rode by there, man. There's like 5,000 cars." She goes, "Oh, Friday night we have family night." And I'm like, "What?" And she was rolling off all the stuff. They have morphed themselves into the old sit around drink at the Elks Club to a family fun place. They're all families. And she said they're booked up nonstop. So that is a point that we're getting at. We need to bridge that gap. Unfortunately, those that are at the head that have been around for 30, 40 years don't know how to build that bridge, and nor do they see it. And again, no one's done anything wrong. I'm not speaking ill of anyone. It's just 2025, and we need to here's what's crazy. I tried to join the Coast Guard Auxiliary because my son was thinking about that. I tried 3 times, bro, and nobody ever really called me back. And I kept calling and emailing. And then they drop the ball. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's not really meant to be. But, it's hey, let me just encourage you, man. If you're an ambassador and you're in that position, and I'm right there with you in our age group, if there's anything I can do to help you out, man, I have time to invest into the museum, to the Marine Corps League. I have a D personality. I'm the big, I can see Z, you know what I mean? And so, man, I support you 100%. I'm just a little dude from Harrisonburg, Virginia, but.
Well, I think what you're saying with what is it, the Elks Lodge, right? I think that is the way to go. When you say family, make it a family occasion, not a go to the bar and drink occasion. No. And even if that means, because a lot of the Marine Corps leagues, they meet at the VFW or meet at a bar, an establishment of that nature. Instead of meeting there, go to a community center, go to a, something of that nature, turn it into a family event. Every time you have a meeting, throw up the bouncy house and let the kids go jump on the bouncy house or something,
Dude, I'm telling you, that's the only way to go. And it's a new idea and a new concept, and I'm sure it would scare a lot of people. I'm not to get away from what the Marine Corps League is, but we have to transition into. There were 200 veterans at Montana State University Billings, which is a college of 4,000 people. 200 college students that were going to that school with their benefits. See what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah.
At James Madison University, there's more than that are veterans that need, and a lot of them are families. When you get out, you could be 30 some years old. You could have put in 8, 12 years, whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, these young families, I think it would be truly helpful in many levels for the veterans themselves to be able to hang out with us, but the families, because the wives are struggling with husbands and they need that support, and then kids be able to get to know each other. It's a I mean, the Marine Corps is a family.
Yeah,
and I
absolutely.
Pro family. I cannot tell you how many wives, when I was heavily into counseling, would call me or email me and say, please help me. I don't know what to do.
Right.
And I would just a couple of pointers. And then they would call me later and say, oh my God, which was just a redirect, in case anybody wanted to know what it was, just a redirect. And they were like, oh my God, it helps so much. And so I think it would help us in a lot of ways. Dude, you got me all fired up. You shouldn't have done that. I'm full speed ahead, dude. I'm 100%.
No, that's what we need right there. We need people fired up and going out there and figuring it out, and and trying new things. This is great. I'm excited that I had you on here and we had this discussion. So it's always a good thing.
It really is, and so it's cool that we're speaking the same language.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, and there's quite a few individuals out there that, you know, they're wanting to try to move it into a direction like that where they can get the younger folks involved, stuff like that. TJ Morgan, he's the commandant for the Marine Corps League. And, you know, I've talked to him about it several times. But yeah, there's a lot of guys out there that I've talked to that, you know, they want to see it move in another direction because they need, I mean, it needs it. It needs to be able to bring in that next generation to continue on the mission, you know?
I'm all in, man. I mean, you have my contact information and stuff. And like I said, I
Yeah,
have,
yeah, yeah.
To get up to the Marine Corps League. I mean, it's just right up the road from Quantico, I think, you know, and I'll be in Quantico quite a bit. And I'm an at-large member, so I'm really not attached to anybody. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I could pretty much, I think, go anywhere.
Yeah.
But man, I love it. I hope and pray that something like that, it's needed, not just for the fun aspect of it, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The families, the veterans.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
well, I'm all in.
Well, I think we're moving in the right direction. We just got to get everybody else on board, and you know, and it's a slow moving ship, slow turning ship, but we'll get it turned. It's just a matter of time, you know.
It is, you know, because you only need a handful of really motivated people to make this thing go.
Yeah.
I mean, it just music, sheet, singing the same song, and it could rock it. It could seriously rock it. I mean, that's actually, she'd probably shoot me if I said this, but this is what my girlfriend does at JMU. I mean, she runs all of the organizations and founded Women of Madison, and she's a doctorate of counseling. But I mean, this is what she does. I mean, she could probably email the whole entire program to you in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Don't tell her I sent her, you know.
Yeah.
But,
I won't let her watch this episode. You're good.
Well, you know what's cool is that she went up with me when I interviewed, and they brought her into the interview because she has a doctorate of counseling, and she's like, whatever he does, I do, because we support one another, and we do.
Yeah.
And she'll go up with me sometimes and help out as well.
Very cool. Man,
so,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing world.
Wow. Well, shoot, man, I'm glad I had you on here, man. You know, you never know who you're going to meet and who you're going to talk to and how it spurs new things. So, hey, we'll see where this goes, man.
Well, what's cool is, I mean, you know, I've helped so many different veterans. I mean, you know, I'm a counselor, but I mean, I'm also a Marine. You know what I mean? Not that we're better, but you know, we have our own thing. Because what I heard one time, I loved it. It's like, I served in the Army, I served in the Air Force, I served in the Navy, but I am a Marine.
That's right.
And that's how.
Yeah, it's definitely a different mentality that we take, and not bad, you know, in my opinion. Some people may look at it as bad, but not me. You know, I'm biased though. What can I say?
Well,
you know?
I laughed the other day. She's like, "Boy, you love your Marine Corps gear, don't you?" Because I mean, that shirt, sweatshirt, you name it, I got a wardrobe, right? And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm super proud of that." And then museum, when we left, she looked at me. She goes, "I've never seen you in that frame of mind, or that. I mean, just the way you talked." She's like, "Wow, I'm so much respect." And I said, "Now you get it. Now you get it." And I just thought it was kind of funny. She was making jokes because I wore it all the time. And then she saw me in my element.
Yeah.
Once a Marine, always a Marine.
That's right.
It was really cool for her to be able to see that. I can't wait to take her to the Marine Corps ball.
Oh my God.
Her head.
I love it.
She's been to so many big, huge events at JMU.
Yeah.
Marine Corps ball, man. That's gonna blow her away.
That you can't. There's nothing like a Marine Corps ball party. I mean, there's nothing that's the same, in my opinion. So it's a good time. Yeah,
I've already thought about that. That's going to be super, super great experience for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, shoot. You know, I always ask these questions at the end of a podcast here, but before I get into them, is there anything else that you want to say or talk about before we jump into those questions?
No, I've been trying to help people, man. And to be honest, the reason why I kind of got out of it, I just got really discouraged because, you know, I kept on trying. And it was just not, after a certain period of time, it just wasn't getting the grip that I needed. But I was coming counseling standpoint and not a like this, family talk. So um, I just hope that you can continue to find the avenues and keep pushing this thing, and Marines continue to share this and really find the right um, relationships,
Yeah.
so you really grow this, so we can all have a place to go to visit and talk. And you have a great format. Um, yeah, you've done this up pretty well. You did good for a jarhead. That's up.
I'm just lucky I've been able to figure out how to use my computer. When I was the master gunny, if it wasn't for those Lance Corporals, I'd have never been able to do anything on a dang computer. Oh man, they helped me out
I don't
tremendously.
want to bring that up, but since you did, that's what I'm saying. I'm proud of you, man. You're doing good.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, the podcast has been a fantastic thing for me. I started it when I retired, and well, actually, I started it right before I retired. But and you talk about people flounder when they get out, and that transitional period. Now, I had my moments. Don't get me wrong. Over the last year and a half, I've had my moments, but this podcast has allowed me to have interactions, have this I won't say daily interaction, but pretty close to, with veterans. And I get to hear their stories and their side. And that's helped me tremendously during my transition. And I don't know. I love what I'm doing here. It's a blast. I'm not making any money doing it. I'm just having fun. If someday, I end up making some money from it, then great. If not, then, I'm just going to keep pushing, and we'll see where it goes. But
happen.
Yeah. Well, shoot, what's that?
This has been awesome.
Well, thank. It's been awesome for me. Thanks for coming on and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me jump into these questions here. All right. You ready?
Sure.
What is your proudest military moment?
Getting the Eagle Globe and Anchor in boot camp.
Good answer. I like it. All right, here we go. What is your most embarrassing military moment?
I think standing in formation, and I was saying some things about the major that was inspecting us, and the guy behind me told on me, and I had to go that major. That was really super embarrassing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, if you could be one military leader for a day, who would that be?
One military leader for a day.
Yeah.
This is probably going to maybe piss a lot of people off, but I'm just going to say it. Donald J. Trump.
Oh, okay. All right. I like it. Okay. It would be interesting to be in his shoes for a day for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
just to see everything that's going on.
Yeah. Especially now, right? You looking around at everything that's happening. To see the behind the scenes of that would be pretty cool.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I like it. All right. If you could change one rule in the military, what would it be?
That if there's somebody that is struggling with any kind of mental health, anxiety, anything, that they could automatically, they have a system now where they could, but it's got to be almost hidden. They can't, I mean, and even before, just a few years ago, you couldn't say a peep or they get rid of you. So, I mean, mental health is mental health, man. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. Most of the time, medication can help. But if it was one rule, is that they would allow people access to that, to the mental health that they need.
Yeah.
And not have it hurt their career.
Yeah. I think it is getting better, and we're moving in the right direction. I don't think we're there yet, but we're moving in the right direction.
Finally.
Yeah. It's been a hot minute.
I had a young lady that was being commissioned in the National Guard.
Yeah.
And her hired me because she couldn't let anybody in her unit know that she was going to counseling, or they would boot her out. That was just like 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I said, have you talked to your spirit? No. They will kick you out. I'm like, God. So anyway,
it's so contrary to, if you can get mentally in the right state of mind, then whatever mission comes, you're going to be better. You
Right.
know, you're going to perform better.
Right.
I don't know. It's crazy. All right. What is one lesson or skill that you learned that you still use today?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll put it to you this way. I have a business called the Clean Marine for real.
Uh-huh.
It's called the Clean Marine. I'm probably one of the best car detailers.
Okay.
House cleaning, squared away. I always passed every inspection on Friday with a outstanding. Turned it into a damn business.
That's awesome.
I did.
That is awesome. I love
Yeah.
it. All right. Well, in the zombie apocalypse, what would be your weapon of choice and what anthem would be playing?
Weapon of choice. I don't know, man. I think I'd have to just get off with like a 50 cal or some shit. You know,
Yeah.
tear stuff up and then
Yeah.
just Thunderstruck, man. I just love that song.
Ooh.
DC.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good song, man. I love it. All right. What animal best describes your time in service?
Oh my God, dude. Where you come up with this stuff at?
It wasn't me. I asked a lot of people different things,
What?
and this is some of them they came up with. So
In your time in service? I'd probably have to say this. I'll try to explain. Probably like a lion. Because these
okay.
dudes sleep all the time, but when they wake up and they come at you, they're devastating.
Yeah.
Now, I would always lay back, but when it was time to be a jarhead, I'm bringing it.
Yeah.
But other
Yeah.
than that, air wing, bro, I got to swing with the wing. So we'd stand on, for all of you grunts, I know you're going to be pissed. I love you, man. We'd stand out on the edge of our balconies and they'd be running, all right, all right. And
Yeah.
5 in the morning, we'd be peeing off the balcony at them, man. They were screaming. They hated us on the air wing, man, but it was just fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, man. Tough question. Which branch of the military has the sexiest uniform?
Oh my God. Blues. I mean, everybody in other branches will tell you that.
Yeah, that's true. The majority of them do. Yeah.
Whatever they're called. Navy's got some cool stuff. You know, Air Force, they can't even really play. But yeah, you roll up in the blues. I don't care what the deal is. Good.
Yeah. Agreed.
You know what really, dude, I joined the Marines for the blues. I never owned a pair. 3 years I could get a blues, man. Yeah. They were like $200 back then, you know?
Yeah. Man.
Beer.
It's a good point. Good point. All right. What branch of the service is the best?
Of course, USMC.
Yeah. All right. I love it. All right. Knowing what you know now, would you do it all over again?
I would have to say yes with a different MOS.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, hey, man.
Bye.
Yeah. What words of wisdom or what do you want to leave the listeners with here?
Just, you know, try to learn how to live your best life now. Whatever happened in the past. I was once told anything past 60 seconds is your past. It's your history.
Ooh.
I know a lot of us carry a lot of stuff from our whole life, but that's whatever trauma or drama or whatever you're carrying around doesn't define who you are.
Right.
Be your best person. Do unto others first, and don't worry about if they do unto you. Just be kind, be good, be helpful, because it heals the brain, it heals the soul, and tell people what you think and how you feel. And for those of you that are married, guys, let your families in if you're struggling. Sit them down and explain to them, and they will love and they will support you. There will be no judgment, no condemnation, and you will find peace in your life. And that's my prayer for each and every one of you, man, is that all of you can find some peace and purpose in your life.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good words of wisdom there, man. I love it. Well, shoot, whenever we get to the end here, I always end talking about veteran suicide and ways that veterans can go and get help. So to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, need help, anything like that, don't forget that the VA has some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on the chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. I know this guy here cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to a buddy you serve with, ask them how they're doing. And if they need a helping hand, please give it to them.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, man, thanks one last time for coming on and doing this. I'm very excited I got to meet you. And I'm definitely going to be in touch. So we're going to work through some stuff. It'll be good. So,
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated, change your socks.